Here we go. Hey everybody, this is my audience for speech number 4.
Hello, everybody.
Hi guys, my name is Jordan Turner. This speech, football is a violent sport filled with many hard collisions between the players. Nowhere is violence more apparent than every Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Thursday during the NFL season. What kind of toll do you think this takes on the players?
Oh, they have permanent injuries for the rest of their life. They be needing wheelchairs like Jerome Bettis and stuff.
Right. There are, from the lower body injuries, there are people who they can't even have stairs in their house. They have to have a rancher. Do you think there are any long-term ramifications to all the players from these injuries? Exactly. That is one of the outcomes from all the repetitive hitting. So like we just said, the short answer is yes. All of this does take a toll. There are ramifications from all of these hitting and from all the hits. Players who don't actually show an outward sign of any injury can actually have brain traumas. They actually, in fact, according to an article published by The Star, players can develop CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a degenerative brain disease that results from repeated blows to the head. There is a way to cut down on these injuries, and today we'll talk about it. I'd also like to discuss why reducing the number of these injuries is important to those who care about the players and who care about just the game itself. First, let's look at the problem. Head injuries account for about 22% of all injuries in football, according to the Sports Injury Bulletin. Right, that's a huge percentage. It's almost a quarter of all injuries in football are head injuries. And considering the brain trauma that they can cause, that's kind of shocking. And these are just the reported injuries. And as a former player myself, I know that every injury is not reported. I mean, there are plenty of guys who get their bell rung in practice and don't say anything. So, also, according to the New York Times, a study done in 2000 said that 60% of 1,090 players former NFL players who were surveyed had a concussion at some point during their playing career. That's over half. Over half of the people who played football to the NFL level got a concussion at some point in their playing career. And I count myself among them. I had a concussion at one point during playing football in high school. Also, what is generally referred to as getting your bell rung is a celebrated thing in football. And getting your bell rung is just a big hit that leaves a player briefly dazed. You know, they end up having to stay on the side for a second and catch their breath. And you'll hear, as Lachelle's making the face, everybody is cheering, going, "Oh!" when this huge hit happens, because you got a guy laying out for a second. And as from the giggling, you can tell it. When you're watching a game, it is exciting. People who like contact, it's an exciting moment. So what do all these hits and head injuries mean for the players? They lead to immediate pain and disorientation, and also to lifelong issues for the players. The immediate pain and disorientation generally comes in the form of concussion. WebMD defines a concussion as a brain injury that caused by a sudden blow to the head or body. That the blow shakes the brain inside of the skull, which temporarily prevents the brain from working normally. So that means you get a concussion, your brain actually stops working briefly. It's alright, Dad, I have one too. And the lifelong issues usually come in the form of CTE. And this disease results in memory loss, paranoia, and depression during middle ages. You're not showing those signs, Bob. And this is listed by the Times Magazine. But SportsMD actually lists even more symptoms. Let's see if we can give a picture. Dizziness, headache, lack of insight, poor judgment, overt dementia, and slowed muscular movement.
No, I'm good.
Hey, clean bill of health. And this is just from repeated blows to the head. This is not somebody who actually got a concussion. This is just being in practice, hitting, just a guy who plays in practice through high school and college. CTE has actually been found in brains autopsy of people 21 years old. They used to think this disease was just in older boxers. People who spend their whole life, getting hit in the face with a glove. But as young as 21 years old, it's been found on autopsy in brains. So as we've seen, the head injuries are a problem in football, not just in the immediate sense, but there's a long-term ramifications. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to have any of these symptoms for a long period of my life. Lack of insight, dizziness. Who wants to go through life dizzy and falling down all the time? But is there a solution that won't ruin the game and protects the players? The solution is, there is a solution, and it's relatively simple. No helmets in practice. Okay, I know, it seems too good to be true, it seems too simple. But let's take a closer look at it. If you're not wearing a helmet in practice, you don't get used to using it as a weapon. And if you watch any NFL...
How about you right now?
And if you're still using it as a weapon, you won't be playing that much longer. Your head's not that hard, it's going to survive. So you get used to you play the way you practice. So you're used to not leading with your head anymore. You're used to leading.
That is a good idea.
Right.
That's a really good idea.
And all of a sudden, you don't get the same number of hits in practice. Your head is not taking a whole bunch of blows in practice. Instead of the possible 50 blows you were taking in practice, you're taking maybe one.
Well, not maybe. It teaches me how to tackle properly.
Right. So now you actually do what you were supposed to do.
Right.
You don't stick your head in. You don't just lead in with your head for a big hit. Instead, you're not trying to get on a highlight reel. You're just making your play. And think about this. Rugby is a sport just as violent as football, but there are not nearly as many head injuries and head collisions. And what's the biggest difference? They're not wearing a helmet. You don't want to lead with your head when you don't have a helmet on. So today we've learned that football can be a dangerous game. The injuries that players sustain have long-lasting negative effects. But the number of brain injuries and traumas can be reduced. We only have to make a little change. Removing helmets from practice is a simple and easy solution. Thank you for your time and consideration.
That was a good idea.